Hi, Rebecca. You just had a Reiki breathwork session as opposed to a breathwork session infused with Reiki. We really focused on Reiki today, and I talked you through the hand positions that I was on in the breathwork class. We really focused our theme on dropping into the body, on the authentic self, on freeing our voice, on clarity and trust in communication. So, how was that for you?
Okay, so I have a lot to share. Really, really, absolutely amazing. If you could like distill all the different benefits I get from different healing tools into a little bottle, this combination of Reiki and breath work is so, so powerful. And for any of my people listening, like I just have to share receiving, receiving, receiving. If we're going to give, we have to also receive. So I'm talking with my soul sister here who we help each other remember to receive by trading. So there was a point. It was so magnificent. The first thing I'll say is I said this during the session was that I had told you I wanted to maybe do like maybe a more mellow breath pattern. I did the reverse triactive. The combination of you telling me where you were placing your hands and my choice of breath, which is it's a three-part breath, but the inhale to the belly and the chest is through the nose and then it's out the mouth. Um, that was just so supportive. And I played around a little bit with other with regular triactive, but that was so supportive. But the big kaboom was there was this moment where I was starting to kind of like imagine the area where I had the pain and just sort of imagining it outside of my body. And then knowing just through the work that I do that it's shadows and stress and all the little stuff that we hold on to contributes to our physical pain. So I've also been what's come up for me a lot lately has just been my addiction to worrying and to thinking and to being in the past and the future and worrying, what am I going to say? What's this going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
Making up things that aren't there. So there was a point in this song, and I was already thinking about this, but then the words in this in one of your songs said something like leaving your humanness behind or forgetting your humanness. And here's the crux of what I want to get to. And I'm going to quote the pod. I don't want to be too wordy here, but this is from a, this wisdom I'm going to share is from a podcast I was listening to,
Mm-hmm.
which is that the we have stuff in our body that we call it the ego on a psychic level, but on like a scientific or pseudoscientific, there's this guy that calls it mitochondria. It's
Mm-hmm.
literally parts of us. It's like parts of us that aren't us. It's what gives us like, the fear, the need for food, the need for belonging, for sex, a lot of the things that sort of come from the ego. And I mean, I will definitely, if we, that podcast is worth listening to. But the it actually doesn't want our soul there. Like it's trying to keep our body alive. So what came up for me during that moment was that when I noticed myself in this like fear state, or even like lowercase f fear, even like just thinking about just little details, or
Mm-hmm.
okay, that problem solved, now let me go to that one. I can just remember, okay, this is that little weird stuff inside of me that isn't my soul, but it's trying to keep me alive. And the soul can just kind of drop in and be like, my higher self, okay, okay, I got you, we're going to do this little dance here, but I'm going to come into her body. And then I asked myself, well, what's going to keep her here? So, and it's the breath, because every time we're
Mm-hmm.
worrying, if I can just take a breath in replacement of the worry, then I can like imagine I'm blowing her up inside of me and she's getting to do her thing without this little crap that we worry about kind of getting in the way.
Mm-hmm.
So the podcast I heard this is called Why Isn't Everyone Doing This? It's Emily Fletcher's podcast. And the guest was some guy who is like the guru of biohacking. I can't think of his name, David something. But
Asprey.
he, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, David Asprey. He was the one that gave this interview. And I mean, his very interesting guy. There's a lot there, but this one little nugget, I kind of want to go back and listen to it because I was driving at the time. So anyway, going back to the session, it was super powerful. I really felt just the common that visceral feeling of the Reiki moving and the presence and the opening. And it also allowed me to go I went really deep, obviously. Hello. We would call this deep. I went deep and I went deep with a little bit of a less active breath, which has happened before.
Mm,
I don't, I mean, the Reiki definitely intensified it, but one of my mentors, Sam Skelly, always says, you know, intensity doesn't equal transformation. Like you can have an intense experience that's also
yes, that's right.
transformative, but Reiki is so gentle.
Hmm.
And I was able to do a breath that allowed me to not have the breath be so loud that I wasn't paying attention to the Reiki. So
Hmm.
that is my share. And
Beautiful.
I feel
And
really great. And I'm really going to try to take this one that really, and for anybody, you know, if this is being published, if you're listening to this, then we published it. But for anybody listening, you know, really that one little trick that is when I find myself going, I'm going to use the I instead of you. When I find myself going to even the little worries, just to notice and not to bash it away with a baseball bat, like, oh
mm,
my God, you're such a worrier. What's
mhm,
wrong with you? But just to understand that that's a
mhm.
little valid part of me that's keeping me alive. It's a part of me, and that my soul gets to drop in with her sparkly, amazing energy. I have a visual of what my higher self looks like. She's like a fairy. She gets to be like, okay, you know, you get to be seen, but you don't get to occupy this whole body.
Mm. You know what's so beautiful is that your intention at the beginning of your session partly was to more clearly speak your truth, speak from your heart, open the throat chakra, and have clear communication and really be dropped into what that communication is. And you're just flowing with the throat chakra fully open, completely inspired, completely dropped in this revelatory space, like so lit up. I
Aw.
love witnessing your process because so often during your process you're smiling, you're joyful, and it's not to say that it needs to be that way, but I love that you have so much joy infused into your breathwork sessions that you the way that you work with yourself. And obviously I'm just here as a witness and safe space and guide, but really we guide ourselves. And as facilitators, we're each just holding space for the other person to be in their power. And that's what I see right now is I
Yeah.
see you in your power, and it's such a gift. And that is the gift that and I know you want to bring to this world, is to bring women and men. But because we're women and because we love empowering women, we're talking about like, just seeing women be in their most lit up, most empowered, most open throat chakra. It's safe to communicate and express space. And we started out your session by talking about it doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter why we might feel unsafe in our bodies or unsafe to speak our truth or constricted, because there's a million reasons why we would feel that way, whether it's from a past life or several past lives, whether it's from our conditioning from 0 to 7, whether it's our conditioning from society and other women and the relationships that we're in. But regardless, what breath work does that we both facilitate and what Reiki does is it gives us permission to our bodies specifically, our cells specifically, to recognize the safety that's being held and to open up and to receive that sense of safety, that nervous system regulation, that somatic support, so that we can have these realizations and revelations and remember our truth and remember, these moments of, oh yeah, like that mitochondria, that's not my truth. That's just keeping me alive. That's just survival. I love
Yeah.
it. So it's so beautiful. It's such a gift to be present with you.
Thank you. Same. Same.
Yeah, it's such a gift. And
Thank
I
you.
was crying during the session too, just to hear and to feel you and to know your process was just so beautiful. It
Oh,
was
Sherry.
just so
Oh,
beautiful. And we never heal alone. We don't heal in a vacuum. We always are connected intrinsically, inherently to everyone on this planet, but specifically to our soul sisters, our soul mates. So when we heal, we always, either as a facilitator or as a receiver, we're always healing together, transforming together. We both practice Nichiren Buddhism, sometimes more than other times. And like that is also the case with practicing Buddhism, is that we transform, we do our human revolution together. And so, not that anyone listening needs to be a Buddhist practitioner by any means, or to even do Reiki or breath work, but just that we are all connected. No matter what we believe, we're all connected.
We are. We are. We are so connected, and we co-regulate. That's why when someone holds space for us and they're in a regulated space, it helps our system relax. Ah, this was just so wonderful. And all the different healing tools, or some of them are like spiritual practices that would be, but they're also healing, but like we come to it from like a lens of like devotion or reverence. They're all also connected. And they all of them have had people that practice them that maybe they just do that one thing and they get
Hmm.
all the things from it. And it's also okay to say, these are all healing, but just like we have various, I'm kind of going off on a different tangent here, but just like we have various like food groups in our diet, or various colors or vegetables, like this has been coming up for me, they all get to play, and to be, sometimes one is a little bit more like the highlight of our week or our day or our month. And it also, I do believe, the cosmos and where we are in our moon, in the moon cycle, and all that also affects, do we want to tap into our voice? Do we want to receive Reiki? So I just wanted to name that. Um, so yeah, that wanted to be
Beautiful.
voiced. Thank you so much, Siri. This was so profound and such a beautiful healing experience, and such an amazing way to merge the two modalities, of Reiki and breathwork. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And thank you guys for listening to our little post breathwork Reiki sesh. Hope that
Yes,
it gives you some sort of insight, and I'm happy, and I'm sure Rebecca is happy to answer any questions that anyone has about any of this.
yes.
Bye for now.